As the beautiful music settles, a space of silence, let it sink in. Welcome. Here at the end of term, as it gently snows outside, I invite you to feel your feet on the floor which touches the building, which touches the earth beneath it, the moist earth, the generative earth, the land and all its more than human inhabitants. Our skin touching the chair, feeling the air in the room, our breath which breathes the air swirling around us in and outside this room. And our ears hear the sounds, nose smells the fragrances, our whole bodies and our senses we bring to this space, which connects to this place and all the human and more than human relations that have been a part of this sacred land on which Victoria University operates. This land has been the site of activity for thousands of years. It's the territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississauga of the Credit. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people who've lived on the land for thousands of years from across Turtle Island, and we're encouraged to continually strengthen our relationship among all living beings with this land.
Wow. Welcome to Emmanuel College last Wednesday gathering of this school year. Hooray. We are really delighted that you have come. Our theme for today is release and renewal. And we have a number of faculty who are taking part. Tom just read the land acknowledgement. You just heard Henry playing. And Jenny and Nevin gonna speak. So thank you to all of you. End of term is a time of mixed emotions. It is the final push to get your assignments in. Many of us are feeling exhausted. I'm one of you. But we are almost at the end. And so many of us are feeling excited too, because for those of whom this might be your last semester, because you have completed your degree and will be graduating in May. There's elation and pride mixed with the stomach kind of butterflies when thinking about your next steps, your next moves, and even maybe some sadness. And moving on from a community and friends who, professors and mentors who have come to be very important in this very particular journey. We honor all of these feelings today. Release and renewal. And we hope that throughout this gathering, we lift them up and send us off with a very good joy and courage. So as you know, our community of people are coming from very diverse religious backgrounds. We know that there are people here from within the religious traditions represented from the very front. And there are people who are here who inhabit other faith or no faith or cultural traditions and identities. So it is very crucial to us to name that everyone feels welcome and feel free to participate or refrain from participating, however you feel most comfortable at this point. Every week we have people visiting the chapel who have never been here. I don't know whether anybody who hasn't been here before. Maybe not today. But you are all beautifully welcome, and you being here is so gracious and grateful to us. So, for whatever reason you are not comfortable and wish to step out of the space, we invite you to do so. If you do that, and then you want to wish to come back to the gathering, you are very welcome to do that too. It should be noted that spiritual gatherings at Emmanuel College constitute an opportunity for students to explore their own gifts, theologies, and practices of ritual and leadership. As such, there will be of necessity be some experimentations and risk-taking. We invite an attitude of graciousness on the part of all and celebrate what may feel like failures as well as successes. So let me invite David to come and say a few words about this year's Spiritual Life team.
So it has been my great pleasure and honor to work with the Spiritual Life team this year. I told them back in September that it felt like a little bit of a miracle to me to be able to lead them because I get to teach and learn and do what I love to do. And week by week, I felt, witnessed many more little miracles through the year. What the SLT does, I think, is miraculous. In a world where religious traditions seem so often used as an excuse to divide and oppress, here at Emmanuel College, they have been the magnet that has brought us together in curiosity and joy. Through the course of our work together, the SLT has learned from one another about the religious rituals and wisdoms of others, as well as gained a deeper wisdom and understanding about their own tradition. So let me now ask the members of our Spiritual Life team to come to the front so that we can acknowledge them. So from the far end, we have Shanaz, and beside her, Tenzin. Oh, Esther, sorry, I didn't see you. And Tenzin, and then Leslie, Thomas, Eva Becker, Hannah, Cynthia, and our assistant, Dr. Wingy Wong. We're missing one person, Abir Anis, who has taken a special trip to Mecca this year. Each of these people brought incredible gifts to the work that they did and a lot of heart. For the first time this year, the SLT organized and led an equal number of Buddhist, Muslim, and Christian gatherings, 2 each per semester. They also planned and led many gatherings that wove these 3 traditions and others as well into a beautiful witness to our shared spiritual longings and wonderful religious differences. They have helped to spark a little bit of spiritual community here at Emmanuel College, on the Vic campus, on the U of T campus, and in our society at large. These accomplishments are little miracles to me, and I know that they have been experienced as blessings by many. So let me conclude with this. Normally we would say, oh, why don't we give one more round of applause, hey? So normally we say, if you have any questions or concerns after the service, come and speak to one of us. But this time I want to say, if you're interested at all at being part of this team for next year, please come and talk to one of us. We really hope that you'll be able to experience what we experienced this year, which was really remarkable. So with that, I invite our team to go back to their seats. Before they do, 3 of them will put beads representing our 3 spiritual traditions that we inhabit on the Hamza. Thank you. And then I'll invite Principal Kim Craig to come and light the candle to symbolize that mysterious something or someone that has brought us together.
Good afternoon, everyone. In Buddhism, release is to let go of the fetters that cause continuous rebirth in samsara. These fetters or impediments are the poisons of ignorance or confusion, hatred, aggression, hostility, and desire, craving, and self-clinging. To be released from these is to achieve awakening and be free from suffering. To renew in Buddhism is to continually and mindfully cultivate wholesome and virtuous thoughts, speech, and actions, which grow our capacity for wisdom and compassion. On the Buddhist path of release and renewal, we may have glimpses or moments of awakening in which we joyfully realize our dynamic interdependence with all creation, and we realize our capacity for boundless love. As we gather here today to mark the end of the academic school year, our learning and journeying together in multi-faith theological education, I offer a contemplative metta meaning loving kindness, prayer for release and renewal for ourselves, for each other, and for all sentient beings. So things will be in 3s. So I'm just going to ring the bell, bowl 3 times, and I just invite you to notice your breath and to pay attention to your breath and settle into natural breathing. May I be released from the fetters of craving, hostility, and confusion. May I be released from afflictive thoughts and emotions which bring about suffering. May I be released from resentments, fears, and habits which no longer serve me. May you be released from the fetters of craving, hostility, and confusion. May you be released from afflictive thoughts and emotions which bring about suffering. May you be released from resentments, fears, and habits which no longer serve you. May all beings be released from the fetters of craving, hostility, and confusion. May all beings be released from afflictive thoughts and emotions which bring about suffering, and may all beings be released from resentments, fears, and habits which no longer serve them. May I cultivate wholesome thoughts, wholesome speech, and wholesome actions. May I nurture my own well-being in body, thought, emotion, and spirit. May I sow and nourish the seeds of wisdom and compassion. May you cultivate wholesome thoughts, wholesome speech, and wholesome actions. May you nurture your own well-being in body, thought, emotion, and spirit. And may you sow and nourish the seeds of wisdom and compassion. May all beings cultivate wholesome thoughts, wholesome speech, and wholesome actions. May all beings nurture their well-being in body, thought, emotion, and spirit. May all beings sow and nourish the seeds of wisdom and compassion. May I, may you, and may all sentient beings awaken and be free.
Thank you. That was very beautiful. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you, all of you. The Islamic tradition tends to be very God-centric, and we have a very distinctive approach to knowledge of God. We approach God through contemplating God's names in creation. There are a lot of nature verses in the Quran that help us draw closer to God by contemplating God in nature. The idea is that in order to love God, we need to know God. And the way we know God is through God's acts, that is God's creation. It mirrors God's attributes and functions like a second scripture that we read in similar ways that we read the Quran. Abd al-Qadir al-Jilani, an early 12th century spiritual master, has a poem that says, "What is the cosmos except like ice? And you, that is God, the water, its source." So from a Sharia perspective, God and the universe are two separate things. But as we contemplate the universe, we try to see the meaning behind it and learn more about our Creator, looking for that life-giving water, the meaning within the solidified ice. Sahl al-Tustari, an earlier 9th century spiritual master, said, "Regard not the vessels, but plunge into the ocean of their meanings, and then you might see me." And God tells us in the Quran, and the translation is mine, "Wherever you turn, there is the face of God." I'm going to share some reflections with you today on two of God's names, the contractor and the expander, Al-Qabid and Al-Basit in Arabic. We see those names reflected in our bodies, in the pumping of our hearts and the working of our intestines. We experience them when we breathe, when we contract our lungs and release our breath, and when we draw our breath and expand our lungs. We also experience those names on our spiritual journey. Contraction and expansion are states on the spiritual path. Qabd, or contraction, is a difficult state, a feeling of heaviness that one has to work through. Bast, or expansion, is a light, airy feeling. It is a joyous state. That is how we move forward on the spiritual path, alternating between contraction and expansion in similar ways as our bodies work and are constantly in motion. We also observe these names in the universe. Our galaxy is expanding. God tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-Dhariyat, and the sky, we have built it with hands and we are expanding it. Space scientists have observed that our galaxy is expanding. It is moving outwards, which is where the Big Bang Theory has come from. However, God also tells us of the day in which our universe, our galaxy, will contract. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Anbiya, God says, "On the day we roll up the sky like the rolling up of a scroll of writing, just as we produced the first creation, so shall we reproduce it. A binding promise, we will do it." Space scientists have also observed the phenomenon of black holes, and the theory is that eventually, after a very long time, our universe will contract again into a black hole. And if you look at pictures of black holes in NASA, that NASA has taken, they look very much like the rolling up of a scroll. The galaxies look like leaves that are being rolled up as they enter the black hole, and there's even seems to be a little something in front of those leaves that looks like a stick that the scrolls are rolled upon. And God promises us that God will recreate the universe a second time, a binding promise. Muhyiddin ibn al-Arabi, a 12th century spiritual master, whom some might call the greatest sheikh, calls this movement of God's constant creative activity the breath of the All-Merciful, or the breath of the most compassionate one, Nafas al-Rahman in Arabic. As we reflect today on the ending of the academic year, we see those names in action again. Our year is coming to a close. Similar to the way we contract our lungs and release our breath. And we look forward to the new academic year when we expand our lungs and draw in a new breath, and our learning journey begins once again. May God be exalted, to whom belong the most beautiful of names. Thank you.
So we're going to move into some reflective time. So when you walked in here today, you should have received 3 pieces of paper, unless you use the QR code, in which case some of these will be digital. So you should have your program, which is double-sided. There is also a year in review journaling exercise. And you should have also received a small piece of blank paper. And I'm going to explain what this is for in a moment. So we'll have a chance now to look at the journaling exercise, and there's 3 questions here that will help you contemplate on release and renewal for yourself. And if you didn't get a sheet, the SLT at the back can assist you. So some of these questions are about, what are your highlights from the year? What are the things that you're celebrating? What are your wins? Also, what challenges did you encounter? As we were talking about, contraction and expansion, we want to recognize and acknowledge both of those things. And what lessons and learnings are you taking with you when you leave here? Once you've had a chance to reflect on that, maybe journal on that, then you can turn your attention to this piece of paper. And this piece of paper is kind of cool because it's dissolvable. So you can write everything that you're ready to release and let go of on this piece of paper. And at any point in time in the next 8 minutes, you're welcome to come up to the altar. Yes, we have a reputation of staying on time, so 8 minutes. You can come, and when you're ready to release, you can drop the piece of paper in the water and watch it dissolve. And we have some chopsticks here if you would like to stir it in to really make sure that it's dissolved. And one more thing I want to mention, actually two more things. There are hymn books underneath your chairs if you need something hard to write on. And lastly, to enter this period of time, Henry is going to play a piece of music for us. And this piece of music, it's called Litany for the Feast of All Souls. It's a piece that Henry adapted for the piano, but it's actually a vocal piece. And there's a beautiful blessing. The lyrics are on the back of the program. So we wanted to point your attention to the words as well. So you can take that in, do some journaling, do some releasing. Thank you. Oh, Franz Liszt adapted it for piano. I'm sorry. Thank you, everyone. If you still have your piece of paper with you, there will be time after the gathering as well. Or if you would like to release more things, this bowl will be here for a while. We're going to move into some discussion time. So in groups of 2 to 3, we can just share what we feel like sharing. So some of the highlights we're taking with us, some of the things maybe we wanted to let go of, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. We'll have about 5 minutes.
This is harder than preaching, to stop you talking. So thank you so much. This is an improvisation, but I just want to say when we think about the release and renewal, what would be the best food? And guess what? We're thinking of April 2nd and kind of cool and releasing and some renewal. What would be best food than popsicles? So you're gonna have some popsicles today, or gelato, a little bit fancier. So, and I just find that so hilarious, and that we are seeing this beautiful snow. So that's the paradox of life, isn't it? Release and renewal, spring, and not quite spring. However, I just want to name how beautiful, symbiotic scene and sound when Henry was singing, playing, and I watched the snow falling. Don't you think it was just so beautifully done? And that's not entirely our effort, but I think the whole creation seems to be celebrating this end of the academic year together. I also want to say that this Wednesday gathering is a real team effort. So we really honor our SLT team, but so many staff, everyone helped a lot. So I just want to name here, Sean unfortunately is sick. And so he hopefully will watch this online later. But we have Wanda, we have Shane probably bringing popsicle to you at 2 o'clock. And of course, Andrew putting things for the social media and so on. So I thank you for all of you. So let me share a text from the Hebrew scripture, which is a part of Christian Bible, but it's also a text that that the Muslim sources also refer to. And the text is from the book of Isaiah. So prophet Isaiah, who lived and taught sometime in the 8th century BCE. It's a long time ago. He inspired many, many people at that time and continually to do so after he was gone. The passage that is from the chapter 43 is likely written by one of his disciples. It is said in the context of exile and yearning to return home, a release from the captivity and a renewal for the future, for their well-being. It is often read at this time of the Christian year, which is Lent, a time of fasting, a time of reflection toward Easter, which is also new life. The prophet speaks of the way God sustains the people and creation as they journey through very difficult places with a promise that they will be made new. Listen. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you perceive that? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The wild animals will honor me, the jackals and the ostrich, for I give water in the wilderness, rivers in the desert, to give drink to my chosen people, the people whom I formed for myself, so that they might declare my praise. This is from chapter 43, 18 to 21. Through the prophet Isaiah and his disciples, God says that we are special, that God pays attention to us, that God cares for us. More than that, God is preparing us for something remarkable to praise and to lift our hearts up in witness to the beauty and the loving mystery of life. I am very so thankful to all of you today. You have worked so hard throughout the year. You have made it through very difficult patches. You have shown empathy. You have helped one another. You have learned so many things about the world, about your chosen vocation, about your religious traditions and the religious traditions of others, and most of all, about yourself. Congratulations. Please savor this moment. And if you are getting ready to graduate, know that we are celebrating with you. If you are preparing for a special summer placement, know that we are preparing our hearts with you. If you are getting ready for a few summer courses, wonderful. We'll be learning with you. If you're just looking for a little rest and relaxation, you can, but I and we are too. Starting in July, I will be on administrative leave for 6 months. I will not get a chance to join you in a spiritual gathering again until January 2026. I'm looking forward to that rest, and I want you to know that I'll be thinking about you and holding you in my heart and in my prayers. Release and renewal. I am about to do a new thing, says God. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Blessings on us all.
I'm going to invite Chris forward, who's going to close our gathering with a song that we're all going to sing together.
Thank you, Chris. So may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sunshine warm upon your face. May the rains or snow fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may the divine mystery hold you in the hollow of their land. Go in peace and let's celebrate.